Minneapolis Urban League presents On the Other Hand, a program of issues important to the community.
Stay tuned for the Minneapolis Urban League's On the Other Hand. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. I've got a really fun show for you today, so please come back in just a couple of minutes. Hi, welcome back. Again, I'm Andy Arlinson with the Minneapolis Urban League, and on behalf of the Urban League family and Channel 5, welcome to On the Other Hand. As always, thanks for the support. Thank you for tuning in. And I'm a little nervous about this show today. I've got three guys here from KMOJ Radio. They're wonderful guys, and they're funny. They're so funny. We've been laughing for the 30 minutes that we've been setting up this show, and bear with me. We're going to get through this wonderfully. KMOJ's Bad Boys, Monday and Tuesdays from 2 to 6 p.m. As always, I need my guests to start by introducing themselves with Debonair.
My name is Debonair, local comedian, on-air personality, and promoter, and part of KMOJ's Dry Times Bad Boys.
My name is Paris Tyler, and I'm the creator and founder of this mission, The Paris Tyler Show, and these are my Twin Cities Bad Boys. This is Debonair. You met Debonair.
I think
you met Debonair before.
I think they know now.
Yeah, you met Debonair, and Debonair is cool.
Okay.
I'm Shock D, sports personality, on-air personality, the real glue of the show.
Sticks like Elmer's.
Oh boy, here we go. Okay,
Sticks like Elmer's.
Let's get serious just for a couple of minutes, guys. Let's get some of the. We need to put the faces to the voices. A lot of people recognize you by voice, but they won't recognize you by face. First, tell me about how it is you got into radio and what brought you to KMOJ. Paris.
Well, when I actually went to Brown Institute, it was in Brown Institute is in Minneapolis, I believe. Yeah, I went there, and I got a degree. They gave me a little degree, 2-year degree, my associates, and I mastered that. When I was a kid, I was in the Boy Scout, and I used to do the Boy Scout cheers. This is true. I'm not lying. I used to do the Boy Scout cheers, and I knew I wanted to talk because I knew I didn't want to have a hammer and nail. I knew I wanted to talk, so I said I got to do something. I'm either talk or I'm going to go to Vegas. Yep. And I decided that with Brown Institute behind me, branching off to KMOJ Radio, the only black radio station here in the Twin Cities Metropolitan, going over and practicing my craft until we can get into commercial radio.
Shock, what about you?
Myself, I've always been interested in sports, and Tony Queen had a show. I asked him if I can be a volunteer on his show, and through that, hooked up with Mr. Tyler there. He kind of liked my intelligence on a sports show, thought him and I would vibe, and then went to the radio thing.
Debonair, what about you?
Personally, I paid him $500 to get on this show. Is that you owe me money?
You're supposed to tell the secrets, man.
Well, I started out as a comedian here in the Twin Cities, doing Saturday night shows at the Riverview and Arnella's, where I hosted for 6 months at the Riverview and 3 months at Arnella's, respectively. There I came to KMOJ as wanting to join part of the radio's team is to help out the station doing some writing and stuff like that. So I talked to the station manager, Vusi Zulu, and the program director, Walter Cuba at Banks. We sat down, we had a meeting, and taking a tour of the station when we were doing a comedy show back last year about this time, I met Paris, and he was running a spot of the show that we were doing, and he did a quick interview, and I came on there doing a couple of my voices that I do. I do a lot of different personalities, and we ran with it. We had a ball, and then that night, we went to the Million Women's March dinner, the reception dinner, and a lot of people asked a lot of questions. Who was that guy you had on the show today, Paris? And he kept introducing me to a lot of people, and we became a team since then.
So is that the genesis of the Bad Boys? Is that how it started?
Actually, it started with me wanting more talent on my showcase. I knew that Shock had the sports voice and he had the vibe, and with me, as the what am I? The professional?
He's the professional.
Am I the professional?
He's the consummate professional.
I'm the professional.
I've been in the studio with you guys a few times.
Now
I don't know, professional, isn't that a little strong?
Yeah, well, see, technically, he's the technician of the crew, which makes him the professional. He knows how to run the board from A to Z. He knows everything that involves the board. Shock being born and raised here in Minneapolis.
I'm just playing.
Being born and raised here in Minneapolis, also being in the Navy and going to a prestigious black college down south. He's the historian, and he has that intellect to the team. Me being a thug in a suit, which is what I basically am.
Thug in a suit?
It's Sunday morning. Let's not forget it's Sunday morning.
Okay. No, just kidding. Me being the comedian, the funny part of the team, I mix with these two guys with my knowledge and history and facts, and then I can identify with where he's coming from, being one on the south side of Chicago, whereas he's from the west side. I can identify, I'm the man in the middle between both of these guys.
So now I know that you said boo to Minneapolis and all that. We're not going to get into that.
I was just playing.
But you guys are from Chicago.
Right, born and raised.
And I know that, I don't know the radio station off the top of my head, and we don't need to plug it in Minneapolis. But let's talk about the difference between what it is they're doing in Chicago radio, commercial radio, and what it is you guys are doing at KMOJ. It is a community station. We're not going to talk too much about that. But can you tell me a little bit of the difference in what it is you're doing at KMOJ than what it is they're doing in Chicago? And I just want to say that a lot of people say that they go to either coast and they go to Chicago, Atlanta, Los Angeles, whatever, and they always say that your show is much better than what they hear in the big, huge markets. Talk about that a little bit. It's true.
I think we have room for raising Minnesota. I think that we, as the Twin Cities Bad Boys, or Drive Time Bad Boys, we come with a new flavor and style. We take, as far as me and Debonair, we take what we call Chicagoism, I guess. We grew up with the Tom Joyners, the Doug Banks, and we almost pattern ourselves after that because they're our idols. They're who we look up to. But at the same time, you have to grow on your own path. You have to grow, and you have to train your city. Minnesota has never had a commercial radio station in the Twin Cities Metropolitan as far as being urban. And if they have, it was predominantly white people working at those stations. Now, when I'm talking about adding flavor, you wanna mention like crossing over, a crossover team. And a lot of announcers have to get that articulate and be upright, and they can't be themselves, so they cross over into that other radio station style, I guess I'll say, the country and the top 40 type of style, and we don't cross over. We maintain and we stay ourselves. We neck bones.
We say some things sometimes that do borderline. And you've been back there when station manager has ran back there, but that's part of what we do. I mean, radio is supposed to be fun, and at that dry time when you're stuck in traffic, we're supposed to provide some fun, some entertainment, as well as some facts and music.
I think what makes us different is the fact that there's no commercial here. And when you're dealing with a nonprofit organization such as KMOJ Radio, you can't say what you want. You can't do what you want. You can't be a shock jock, is what they like to call it. A lot of people call us shock jocks. But really, we just living our lives for us. And when you have a shock jock flavor at a nonprofit organization, the only black radio station in the Twin Cities Metropolitan, people go wild. They go wild, and they're like, oh, they got flavor. But really, we're doing what everybody else is doing, only on a different level, because we have room to do it. You know, we're not commercial. We don't have to worry. We can't curse like the other states. We don't do any of that. We do a show formatted for everybody. I don't target one audience. At any time do I not target one audience. A lot of people say, well, you shouldn't say that because of my kids. Well, I'm not targeting your kids. And
I'm going to have to cut you off real quick, Paris. We got to go to a commercial, and when we come back, we're going to talk about shock jocks and what it is they do on the Paris Tyler Show. So come right back. We'll be right back in 2 minutes.